Yes, Rascal and Disco beer review with me, a disco, are back on your screens from live from the Disco Arms once again. Been a little bit of a delay, not just the 8 or 9 minutes of tonight. Thank you, everybody is waiting in the background there. Right away, sorry about that, little bit of a computer glitch as always. I'm setting some stuff up. But thank you. I can see the comments rolling in, and also obviously being 2 weeks late by not doing one last week. Wasn't feeling that great last week. Mostly hangover induced, as I was talking about earlier. So I didn't quite get into one. I've got a lot of comments there to scroll back on. Yes, I know, Henry. Thank you very much indeed, by the way, for waiting. May have recognised the music in the introduction there if you was listening along or watching afterwards. I took up your kind invitation of some free copyright-free music. If anybody doesn't know, Henry 420 does his own music, does a lot of his own songs over on his channel, and put up today a copyright-free tune. So I thought, well, I need some new music. I thought I'd do it on the introduction. I only used a small amount, but thank you very much indeed for that. I'll try and work out how I can work it into a longer form video in kind of the background another time. I'm not going to get back to all of these results, all of these comments, but thank you very much indeed for everybody. I see Buddy Biggs there, I see David Wilson, I see Luke in the comments, alongside Henry 420 and Mr. B. Good evening, Rob. Good evening to all of you. As I say, I was setting some of my stuff up. I've got plenty of things to get through, beers, chats, discussions if you want them. Let me get straight into the first beer, which, as you may well have seen from the thumbnail, is the blue bit of the evening. I've titled this one, again, it's another Bash the Stash edition, something old, something new, something blue. I'm starting with this blue wrapped can, if only for the colours on the can. It's not that blue beer, if in case anybody was thinking I was doing that yonder one. I've seen a few people do. I'm not against doing that blue yonder one. I was going to say if anybody wants to send it to me, but nobody's going to do that. But I'll go and buy myself at some point if I can get around to it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do first of all, straight away, before I forget. Having just got onto your screens, I'm going to disappear again over to the corner before I forget, and before the camera dies, get the old shot, as I did last week. And if you could, throughout the next hour, or rather the next 3 beers, remind me to take the photograph, so I've got something to put up content-wise in the morning. And it won't be a particularly good photograph because this one's a really dark kind of can, despite the light blue and the brightness of those colours, but not looking that great. Or I can't get it to focus. Bad workman blames his tools, and should have got the lighting sorted out long before now. Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. You like that one? Is that all right? Yeah, that'll do. Comes up all right. Yeah, so Marble Brewery from Manchester. You may well have seen the marble unboxing. I'm not going to do the can drop. I hadn't got that one set up. Mr. B has developed a penchant for calling me Disc. Oh well. Don't mind too much. I don't mind what anybody calls me as long as people call me, to be fair. Jagman popping in as well for a beer. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you, sir. Well, cheers to everybody. Been a bit of a day. Nothing much has happened really. It's just been really dark and a bit drizzly outside here in northwest London, as I think it has for most of the country, I imagine. And yes, if you could all smash the like, subscribe button, Henry, as always, doing the promo on the sidelines, which is what I thought I'd do a little promo of Henry 420 there. I forgot to put up on the thing. I was going to buzz out the channel, but I'm guessing you all know Henry's channel, and I haven't got any people to put it in the comments. So if anybody wants to put a link in the comments, I'll work out how to do that another time. I'll do it at the end. I'll put it in the comments down below afterwards for anybody watching afterwards. If you are watching after the event, thank you very much indeed. Let's get into this beer. Yeah, so 4.5% session IPA. So I thought it was a pale ale rather than an IPA, but 4.5%. A lot of discussions around that. Is it a pale ale? Is it an IPA? Only 4.5%. Shouldn't a session one be a bit lower? But it is quite low for an IPA. Anyway, yeah, a little bit of citrus on the nose. Nothing too spiky on the hop. Cheers. Let's get down my neck. I should think probably Bramwell, maybe one or two others have had this already. It's been out a while. I got it directly from Marble Brewery when I got one of the disco beers. More about disco beers later, because these things amuse me, and I've got another one to unbox. That one won't take long, don't worry. This one from me, if anybody was thinking about this beer, actually I don't know if it's still on at Marble, but because as always, the whole point of doing these bash to stash things is because I accumulate a lot of beers, and I'm better at buying beers, it seems, than I am drinking and reviewing them. So I've got far too many in my stash. It sounds like a bit of a humble brag. It's not really. It's just me being terrible at drinking, rather reviewing. I'm really good at drinking. I've drunk a few without actually getting around to reviewing them. Say last week I wasn't even feeling that great, so I didn't have any beer till, well, the weekend, and even then, up at work at the brewery, I didn't actually get around to it that much. Didn't go heavy, just had a couple of beers. Even on my day off, I went up there on a Sunday and had a couple, nothing major. That one kind of errs on not my kind of thing. It's going a bit too far towards grapefruit for my liking. And as well, you know, I'm not a big fan of the whole grapefruit kind of thing. Let's have a quick look. Hope that works. Have I shared it properly? Yes, I have. Yeah, so to be fair, off the Marble website, I saved this one when I did the video for the unboxing video, this one, so I could put them up on screen. So I put this up again. 4.5%. Yeah, 500ml cans. Keep forgetting to mention about that with Marble. Always a good thing, especially looking at price on the right hand side, £3.10. I mean, it's a session IPA, 4.5%, so that kind of sounds about right. But you do see some craft beers, even the session IPA stuff, a little bit more than that. So £3.10 sounds about right for me, especially for a 500ml can. The hops in this one, Brew 1, Melba and Sultana. That reminds me, that's why I kind of picked it up, because I don't know too much about Melba and Sultana. Brew 1 I've had in a few beers, not been massively fussed, can't pick anything out too much, but it does say here Ancodia, with a nod to the past, present and future, one of Manchester's most dynamic areas. A hop bill of Melba, Sultana and Brew 1 combined with a soft malt base to create a tropical and balanced session IPA. I ever so slightly beg to differ about the balance on it. It's kind of yeah, can't complain too much. It is very reasonably priced for me. Just needs a little bit of lemonade top just to kind of balance out that citrus. It's just a little bit too grapefruit for my liking, to be fair, but it's only a session IPA. I say only, it is a session IPA, so it's not too like hoppy, spiky, too bad. I will get through it, but I've got a couple of interesting ones to get through anyway. Let's put that in there because that's where it's meant to be for the next bit of the show. Anyway, oh, I missed a couple of comments here. No, alas, I didn't get Marble chocolate. I don't think it was on the website, otherwise I definitely would have done. At the time I bought these, and bear in mind, I bought these last month, so as always, just getting around to all the beers I bought is a bit of a miracle, but I'm pushing these ones through. I say I got one that's come in brand new. I'm going to drink the one that came in this morning, and one that's quite frankly a little bit old, but should be okay. Synthetic in flavour. No, but what I did get is the Marble Mild, and I'm hoping maybe next week to finish off Mild in May with a couple more Milds, including that one. If I can get something sorted out for next week. I mean, Jagman should do a few shows together. Both can bash the stash. As long as that's all Jagman is bashing on my stream, then I won't get cancelled and everything's groovy, as they say, all the uncool kids. Well, I told you it was on Buddy's live stream earlier because he was sitting in the sunshine over in Massachusetts and looked like he was having a great time, to be fair. I just sat watching the rain trying to get this show together. Joe Eddles, Square Table Degenerates, thank you for popping in. Love the lawn video. Mowing the channel initials into your lawn. I've got a lawn outside. I don't know if I could get Rasco and Disco on it. I don't think there's enough. Also, I don't own a lawnmower. That would be helpful. Yeah. Is that counting your body count? Yeah. Let's talk about that. Maybe I'll talk about that at the disco. But the beer I purchased recently. I don't know. I wasn't gonna. I'd forgotten about that briefly because it annoyed me a little bit. I can't get annoyed by these things. But that was the kitchen disco. I haven't got one here to show you. Kitchen disco from Double Barreled Brewery. I did. I was on the last unboxing when it Double Barreled and Turning Point, and I drank that one, the Spirals from Double Barreled. I was quite pleased with the. Just noticed that I left up the previous week's cans on the top, but I was a little bit annoyed about Double Barreled. Obviously, I did that live show with the unboxing. I was moaning a little bit about their kind of delivery where the cans are rattling around in the box a little bit. And I'm like, But it turned out they're okay. The cans are all right. Superb. And then a mate messaged me the other day. He said, I've just seen Kitchen Disco in Waitrose. And I'm like, this is like literally a week later. Not only that, I bought them off the Double Barrel website at £4 a can. Yeah, it's about right. It's like a 6% IPA or whatever. They want to watch shelves at Waitrose at £3.50. Who's going to argue about 50p? But I did have to pay to get them delivered. It's just annoying. I think when breweries, I've seen it a lot. I've seen Siren do it as well back in the day, and I think they've probably got it sorted now. But also Northern Monk have got their supermarket cans on the website. I'm not sure about their price, whether they put them in the same, but they do them in a pack. There's that those Death by series, and I'm like, I think if breweries are going to put their supermarket beers on their website for selling out, they should be at the same price as at the supermarket. Like, it saves people having to go to the supermarket to get them if they're putting an order through. Or why would you put the supermarket cans on the website? Because then it doesn't necessarily drive traffic to your website, or is that why they do it? I don't know. So I was a little bit annoyed about that. But it's a disco beer. I was probably going to pay it anyway, so you know what I mean? I always get them. Basically, I work on the basis that you snooze, you lose. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, get it. It's what's that chess term? It's like you have to take your takes, otherwise you get taken. So, like, if I see a disco beer, I'm probably putting an order in. It does mean I'm getting some other cans. So I'm spending a bit more money. So, what the hey? Do you know what I mean? I have now got a few too many disco beers. I'll come on to that, like with the unboxing, of course. But thank you very much. I'm glad you noticed, sir. Yes, I'm not even sure if I'm actually allowed to wear this shirt, but it was given to me, and we have been wearing it around the brewery because I put it on because it was blue, kind of fit in with the blue theme, as you see, scrolling around down there. And something old, that's me. Something new, that's the beers. And something blue, that's the T-shirt. But yes, you might also notice down the bottom there, if I breathe out a little bit, the words Perivail down the bottom. These are the volunteers t-shirt. So the people who are working serving the beer and helping set up and stuff, they have a certain amount of t-shirts. They needed somebody to sponsor them. That's obviously how these things work in beer festivals with camera. So yeah, my boss at Imperial said we could be up for a little bit of that. And very nicely did it in the same font for the Imperial font. The other Mike does all the design work for Imperial, put it in, and they put our name on a t-shirt, put the brewery on a t-shirt, and so 13th to the 20th of July I will be 10th to the 13th of July. 20th is the following week. So that's like Wednesday to Saturday. So I shall be in a field in Walpole Park at one or all of those dates. I've already bought my ticket because they've done a good price this year. They reduced it down below 20 quid for all 3 days. So I'm like, chuck 20 quid in the pot for that, even though we'll sponsor the t-shirts. And I don't know whether we get in for that as well or not, but I've got a t-shirt out of it. So happy days. So yeah, things are happening this summer. If you saw last year's video, it was a bit of a walk to Walpole Park. I think I'll cycle this year because it's quite a nice little journey down through West London suburbia, through the concrete jungle of Northolt. Oh yeah, man, get some food in. I would prefer get some food in before the beer. Is that what you're drinking now, Jagman? Burning Sky Quench is up there with me challenging Steady Rolling Man. I've never had a Steady Rolling Man. Thought I'd just whisper that, mostly because it's got a beer called Whisper coming up. I don't really drink Daya that much. I don't think I've had any Daya beers. I just haven't really bothered. I mean, might cover the reasons why as part of the unboxing. Had the pub. So the kitchen disco. That was the other thing. They released a pub disco, which is exactly the same branding. This is double barreled kitchen disco that I bought that I was talking about just now, and they've also, gone and bought one out in cask. Was it cask? I imagine it to be cask, or was it a keg version? Oh yeah, sorry, from keg. Yeah, so they put one into pubs as well. Again, no problem. It's like the same beer. But do I rush out? I don't see double barrel down this way too much. If I happen to see it in a pub, which is unlikely around here, I have to travel for it. If I do see it, I'll go and have the pint, probably, because I do want to do a few more in pubs. It's mostly all been cans and bottles so far. Need to get to it where it's really easy to get to. Ealing Broadway on a train, isn't it? It's only a short walk down the high street. It's a really good festival. There's loads of it, especially as Great British Beer Festival isn't happening this year because of the problems with Olympia. So it's the next kind of biggest beer festival in London. And a big circus tent in Walpole Park. And as long as the weather holds out, which it didn't last year for a couple of the days, it did when I went on the first day, you're out in the open. There is a bit of shade under the big tree and a few tents and that. But it is all outside, all out in the open. The tent, it's a circus, like big top circus tent. I don't think bother really with obviously the side bit around the front. So fairly easy to get in and out, even though it's fairly busy. But yeah, it's a really good festival. We love it. We try and go every year. Every year it's been on. Yeah, this is the thing, Luke John. I'm gonna supporting craft breweries that are doing supermarket beers. Growth is great, but different pricing, quantity over quality just gets under my skin a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of what I said with the beers on the supermarket sweep show a couple of weeks back. I'm all for that. And you see some smaller breweries. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Kirksall's a small brewery any more than Outland are, to be fair. But there's some other kind of really good regional stuff in there. But yeah, you do think, does it suffer a little bit from sitting on the shelf? So I try not to do it. I have got to get back to Asda. I've got to get down to Asda for a couple of the beers that I've seen people do at some point, if I can. So this is kind of part of my beer news. Imperial sponsoring Ealing Beer Festival. One or two other things to talk about. Am I right? There used to be in beer Sainsbury's along the lines of forklift disco. There did indeed. No, it was more than 5 years ago. I was first talking about that in 2016 when I was generally against craft beer. But I saw that. It's called Disco Forklift Truck. It is by Drygate Brewery up in Glasgow. They also did about 4 different variants. They did that's a mango pale ale. They did like a double version. They did like a raspberry and mango version, double dirigible. I think they did fire in the disco, a mango and chili pepper. I can't remember what the chili habanero, I think, did that as well. So yeah, that was basically what formed the original kind of starter for 10 for the disco collection of me just finding beers with disco in the name. Like it actually predates Rasco setting up the channel with 25 now year old nickname of Disco. But yeah, I noticed that beer in Sainsbury's. It was good train beer, to be fair. It used to come in 330s. They've now got it in 440s. In fact, I've got a 440 can of it in the stash, which I intend to do if I ever get around to doing the Disco Kingdom beers from Turning Point, which is backdated to last November. So I've got to get them out of the can at some point. There's 5 beers I'm doing. I was going to put it as a disco day extra. Didn't want to do it with the 5 beers from the last disco day. So I've got 4 different variants of Disco King from Turning Point. I'm going to put that Disco Forklift Truck in a 440 can. I mean, I've had it like several times, but yeah, it was good for a while. I think that suffered a little bit, got a bit too hoppy. I'm surprised. I think it still is. I think it's just really got usurped by all the other craft breweries. But that was kind of the OG craft beer in supermarkets, in Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's was really good 5-6 years ago. I've had Sainsbury's by a station. I was sorted for train beers on the way home from somewhere. Getaway, Greenford or Perivale. If he's born in Greenford, it's probably Perivale Hospital. In fact, Stuntman Steve was born there as well. But local lad. Although it is the other side of the border. I'm proud Harrovian. I just work in, near Greenford, kind of Greenford, Ealing, the borough of Ealing. Yeah, you can put whatever spin on that you like. Mersey. Good evening, Adam. Best mild I've had recently was Never Known Mild Like, which was a North Riding and Rivington collab. It was class. North Riding is one that's been on the list for about 5 years because they do some excellent, mostly bottles. Obviously, I know the cask, but I've seen all their bottles. I haven't ventured into cans, I don't think, but they do some stunning additive stouts, like pecan pie and like, I probably don't think they do I'm sure they do a pecan pie, but coffee stouts, chocolate stouts, nut stouts, really great range. And it's one of those, I'll buy them all. I'm not too fussed on their IPA, but I've just never quite found that exact reason, apart from the fact I really fancy them. But I have so many other beers to get in, and it's always been, got to try and keep it selective. But North Riding, really want to get around to at some stage. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've never drunk Daya. The reason I've never drunk Daya is because I was going to come on to it later, but I might as well do now. Yeah, it's this hype beer thing. It's this hype beer situation. It's like, all those kind of, I don't drink Cloudwater. I've never got into Daya because I've never got into track. I know what it is, but it all just seems to be a plethora of potentially over-hopped, over-grapefruity pale ales, with 1 or 2 exceptions. I agree that's not always the case. And I assume, and to be fair, I've looked at Daya's website, and they're actually fairly reasonable price, especially as they're also 500ml cans. But I've never just fancied chancing it. I mean, I have done here a little bit because I had to put an order together, and I don't want to just buy 2 cans or whatever of the disco beers. I want to try something else. So I thought this one would be all right. It's okay. It's an extremely good beer. It's well produced beer. It just isn't balanced enough for my palate. And I fear the same for Daya, like even Steady Rolling Man. Verdant is another one. I've only ever drunk Light Bulb from Verdant. Just because I just don't want to risk it of another, Citra, Exaka, Galaxy IPA, and next week it's a Galaxy Citra, Azaka, Chinook, whatever IPA. It just, it never quite sits for me. That said, I would also probably put Beak in that category as well. I have had one Beak beer. That was a collab with Boxcar. Actually, really good beer, to be fair. Quite enjoyed that one. I'm kind of putting the next brewery, I'm kind of putting Floc in that category as well, because and I'll come on to that in a minute, actually. I've got so many things to get through. I'm kind of forgetting where I am. Trying to put a coherent show together rather than me just waffling, but I've got all this list of things to get through. So I'm probably, I'll tell you what, this is what I haven't done either. Look, I haven't done beer number 1, please. Beer number 1, please. That's what I meant to do. It's not all just hurriedly slung together, There's all like, trying to make entertainment here. So what I was going to talk about briefly in the first 20 minutes of the show, and I'm kind of a little bit over that already, was a little bit of beer news. Euphemisms, always worth slipping one in now and again. Well, there you go. There you go. Steady rolling, man. I will get around to it at some point. I did actually mean, 2019, my plan in 2020 was to actually go to Cheltenham for football, and actually go to the tap room as my first taste of Daya, and stuff happened. We went up, Cheltenham went down, and I've never got around to going back. So hopefully at some point. Well, thank you very much indeed, Luke. You probably did. I had a massive flurry of things at the start, so I kind of missed all the messages, but thank you very much indeed. Don't forget to remind me to take the photograph of the next beer, if you could. What was I going to talk about? I was going to talk briefly about some beer news. Did everybody see the beer news yesterday? What should we start with? Let's start with this one. Did everybody see this? Hook Norton Brewery out west. The fire in their stable. So not challenging the brewery itself, I don't think, although it's across the courtyard, but seems to have been well put out by the fire service. So used as offices now, and so the brewery itself, very, very elegant, historic brewery. Been there a long time. Fire at Hook Norton initially somewhat worrying. But all good. Not as catastrophic as perhaps it could have been. Congrats to the fire service for a job well done. Another piece of news I was going to talk about, I think I mentioned it the other week. It was Buxton Brewery announcing some kind of financial issues. Apparently been saved by a company called Happy Place Investors in Stockport. So a little front for is that Mr. B's new venture, a little Happy Place investment company. I don't know anything about them at all, what they intend to do with it, but it always get a little bit worrying when you have some random investment company coming in. What are they going to do with it? Again, another brewery. you see a fair bit in supermarkets, so you would think probably they should be okay with a big supermarket contract or two, but we have seen quite a few breweries in supermarkets taking the administration route. I don't know whether this is like a pre-agreed thing or they've actually just put it out. And again, it's fairly local, isn't it? Buxton to Stockport. What do we think about that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Not sure if Rob's still in the chat. He would be best placed to answer that one. Ooh, just natter the camera. Oh, do you like the extra decoration? I found a bag that said beer o'clock. Well, at least you have somewhere comfortable to rest your head if you have too many pints of old hooky. It's a brewery haven't revisited for a long time. I actually drove past the brewery. Didn't get a chance to stop, but yeah, no, lovely old building. Some fairly traditional, but half decent beers, I would say. I have to go back and have a look. Buxton is another one, as I mentioned earlier, that are kind of on trend a little bit, you know, very hoppy. IPAs, pale ales that I just can't risk me £5 on. I've had one or two Buxton. I had that Buxton Omnipolo one. Again, that was in a supermarket. I was a bit surprised, but £5 a can. Give it a go because it was, you know, a couple of really big beers. But yeah, was anybody else reckon Buxton? Have they kind of had their day? Will they be okay? What do you reckon? Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I say that I'm not bothered about their beers, but that's because I just haven't, you know, gone with that. Oh, I must spend £5-6 on a beer. Although again, I suppose they're fairly reasonably priced. Maybe locally at the tap room or whatever, it's even better for a pint. Never want to see any brewery struggle in that kind of realm. But yeah, looks like hopefully they'll be okay as long as they can get the numbers crunched and not suffer any quality drop for that. Well, I'm going to put that to one side a little. Yeah, so this Marble beer, again, really good beer. Can't really argue with that. There is a balance to it, but it does just go a little bit too close to the grapefruit. And even without any citra in it. And by the way, I had a beer at the weekend. Part of the reason for my hangover was I was actually drinking a single hopped citra beer. Again, up at a brewery. In fact, you probably all know about it if you see the prawn cocktail beer that I did the other month. We actually did another one of that based on the same recipe, but without obviously the prawn cocktail and the lactose and the tomato, called Very Hazy. And believe me, on Monday morning, I was indeed very hazy. I know me drinking a single hopped citra hopped beer. Who'd have thought it? I've got to do a video about that at some point, really, just to explain that one. So get back up the brewery tomorrow. Yeah, it's good about investment. Always a shame to save in the brewery. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, indeed. See, this is probably a good point, actually. That's what I say about the supermarket thing. Some breweries invest heavily on the back of a supermarket deal, but the deal doesn't necessarily mean your income and return on investment will increase. That's a good point. Same in the food industry. Yeah, so I guess once you get into that supermarket contract business, if it goes well, and a brewery like Buxton probably is because it's going to be popular, slightly hypey, so you have to keep producing that. And if you start relying on that money, and we've seen it before, we've seen it with like breweries that were supplying the likes of Wetherspoons, and then when COVID came around, it was cut. They were just relying on that a little too much, and that's all they could do. They had nothing else. So yeah, we definitely hope it works out. And I say all that about Buxton, but I should. I've been in Tesco's and I've looked at them and I thought, do I just get one on a 4 for 3 deal? But all I'm seeing is IPA, like double IPA or New England IPA or whatever, and I'm like, I'm sure it'll be all right. But as we see, just a random IPA, unless I've got any particular investment in it, like it being a disco beer. I bought IPAs because they've got disco in the name. It's a good a reason as any, to be fair, you know. Talking of which, I bought a beer because it had disco in the name. I probably wouldn't have bothered, but it is from Kent Brewery, I believe. Aren't they down in Faversham or Canterbury? Somewhere like that, down in Kent. Nice box, nicely branded with Floc. Beer is beautiful, indeed. Like it can be if it's done right. Lovely little thank you on the box as well. Only a really small order, nicely well packed. It's a 12 box and I only ordered 6. Again, just for that reason. Show you more detail in a minute. Thank you for the order. We appreciate each and every can you buy and hope you enjoy the beer as much as we love making it. I'm not sure about that. Slightly romanticizing the whole beer making process, which is great. I enjoy doing it, but yeah, if you're doing it all the time, it can be, I imagine, a little repetitive. Dare I say, tedious. That's not how I feel. That's my personal opinion. But other breweries, I still really enjoy getting into that sort of thing. Possibly a good point. You can always tell brewers that struggle as you stop seeing them on draft in craft or real ale places, only in supermarkets. Yeah. Is that like some kind of like cost saving of not having to? I mean, because you sell a bulk amount of cans and get them out into a supermarket, you've made a big sale. Whereas if you sell one cask to a local pub down the road, probably margins aren't as great, and you've got all the hassle of getting the cask back and refilling it and blah blah blah. Yeah. So anyway, on to it will be the next beer because I'll get them out. I'm going to drink this one. Once I get out into the hand, let's just have a quick look. Yeah, only a 6-pack. Not really because of cost, particularly. Just had one or two too many beer orders this year, and I keep saying I've got to try and get the stash down. I think it's showing the future sales team. I don't know about that. You can plan as much as you like, but sometimes these things just, for whatever reason, don't really work out. So. Yeah, so I got some beers in from Floc, which I believe I've seen people talking about them, reasonably well regarded, kind of newcomers. Main thing I notice about Floc, apart from the prevalence of pale ales and IPAs, etc., it's really nice labels. That must be an extra expense to have non-standard, non-straight edge labels, but this one is a Whisper pale ale, 5% pale ale. I mean, again, it's on there to make up the order. There was only 4 different beers. So I picked up at least one of each. I was always going to get the disco beers. And one of those was this one, the 8%. Yeah, 8% double IPA. It's a collab with also newcomers to the craft beer scene, Two Flints, over in Windsor. Again, I've seen a lot of good things about them. Haven't got round to diving in yet because, again, a whole bunch of pale ales as far as I could tell. I'm sure they've got some other stuff there as well. I need to get over to Windsor. It's not far, but just a little bit too far away. There was some good, interesting stuff I was going to talk about, and once again, completely failed to get out of the magnifying glass, so I could talk about this stuff. What have we got? 8% Dipper, Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe, Motueka. Don't mind a bit of Motueka, to be fair, but yeah, that Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe combination just really doesn't get me too excited, but I got it because it sounded okay. A bold double IPA brewed with our friends at Two Flints, utilizing Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe, and Motueka hops, along with Motueka Sub-Zero Hop Keef from Freestar for a vibrant fusion of tropical fruit, citrus, and pine. Pine's the problem. A juicy, aromatic, and slightly resinous profile. Well, that's kind of part of the new thing as well that I'm talking about on the description there, because Hopkeef, got two of those. It's not some guy from Christchurch called Keith. It's some new development in hops, which I'll come on to in a minute with the next one, because I actually planned to drink this one. That's why I put it in the thumbnail. It's called Under Skies, at a reasonably more modest 6.2% IPA, with Nelson Sauvin and Citra. Now, Motueka and Nelson Sauvin, I know, I suppose, a bit about, because we use them a lot. I prepare a veil with very pale. So I'm fine with that. And as I say, suddenly got into Citra. So it's interesting to see what other breweries do with Citra. Now, I've had a Citra pale ale that I can drink. That probably was an IPA, actually, because it was 6%. Hazy IPA brewed with Nelson Sauvin and Citra hops, enhanced with Cohere Nelson Sub-Zero Hopkeef for a complex, fruity profile with vibrant notes of grape, citrus, and tropical fruits. Well, that will be a very, very interesting. Very impressed with the double IPA for 2 Flints, are one of my breweries to watch. There you go. I'm hoping either Rob or Adam will tell me a little bit about Hopkeef. There you go. More on the way. More on the way. You've been doing other busyness there, Henry, with the music and the stuff. The dippers have been good so far. Big Phil, Big Keith, and for some reason my favourite today, Big Dave. Wonder why that is, David. I mean, if I was going to get in to 2 Flints, Big Dave would probably be the one that I would start on for similar reasons that I don't ever go into. Well, there you go, Luke. You've had your reasons, and you've been doing other stuff also. Yeah, Big David. If you go to Northern Monk on their website, you can get your name on a beer can now. They're doing that Keep the Faith thing where you can personalise the cans. I don't know if I need 6 cans of Faith. Good as they are, good thing, but with disco on the label. Fuck it, maybe I will. I don't know. Chris Campo, not half bad for a mass-produced lager. Trouble is, with it not being half bad, it also means it's not half good. As long as you got the good half, as you say. So fair play, fair play. Focusing more on the smoking by drinking quite a bit of mass-produced stuff. Never mind. Well, that's it. Whatever gets the information. Yeah, so the last one from the Floc box. Again, like I say, a really small order just to get another disco beer into the disco collection. You see there, Midnight Disco. Might recognise the disco ball. It is a collaboration with Overtone up in Glasgow. Had a couple of Overtone beers, including the disco one, a triple IPA from them. God, that took a long time to get through. But this one's 6.5% IPA. It says, again, Nelson Sauvin, Rakau and Motueka. So they're banging out the New Zealand hops. Seems to be a big thing at the moment. Hazy IPA with Nelson, Rakau. Rakau's one I don't know at all, to be fair. Motueka 2024 crop. Hops from Freeze. That must be really fresh hop because it is spring in New Zealand. So that'd be like really green hop. Packed and shipped over. Offering notes of gooseberry, apricot, and zesty lime. Juicy, creamy with a complex blend of sweet and citrus flavours. Hopefully not too much citrus, or rather the right end of citrus. Brewed with our friends at Overtone Brewing Company. Well, I was quite happy to get that one because it did sound pretty good, to be fair, with all that different kind of fruited flavours. And yeah, New Zealand hops, like I say, because of Paraval doing New Zealand hop beer, I'm kind of slightly getting into that as well. Midnight Disco, Under the Moonlight. Yeah, I'll have to find time to do that one. Like I say, I've already got 5 beers to do for the next disco collection series, which is, well, I suppose been almost, if I do them at 5 at a time, the next one just done 8, and I've got the collection for 9, and I've got 5 already. So this is probably kind of the 6th. So that might end up being Disco Day 10, and I might have to squeeze an extra couple in, to be fair. And I still haven't edited Disco Day 8 yet, really. I'm going to knock that one out because I kind of want to get into this one into glass, little refresher. Well, you've got your own name on a beer with Lucas from Thornbridge, a lager from Thornbridge. Often see that. I've tried it. It's perfectly decent. Going to Overtone have got a bar in Preston. Really? Okay. No, they'd actually got out of Glasgow. Fair play. I don't know if that's a reason to go to Preston. Preston's actually not a bad town, to be fair. I've been there several times. New Zealand hops are cheaper and more reliable than American right now. Is that because they're just current? Right, because if you've got the 2024 crop, they've just come out. I wanted to go back to a comment I saw up here from, here we go, from Encyclopedic Beer Knowledge. Thank you, Adam, for dropping in and helping us out with this discussion. Hop Keef is a brand name for freestyle, where they freeze dry the hop to protect the lupin. So, as I've said more than once, I'm not really good on science of beer. But yeah, as I understand it, they've basically taken the hop, done some jiggery pokery with it, and basically concentrated into that really small bottle. So you don't have to transport a whole 5 kilogram pack of hops about the place. You've just got all the essence of it in the bottle. So I had a quick look, obviously, on Freestyle Hops from New Zealand and their description of Hop Keef. It's concentrated lupulin for cold side use. So on fermentation side, our Sub-Zero Hop Keef is intended for dry hopping and can be added to the bright tank prior to carbonation to give your beer fresh hop character that hangs on in package, or to make hop flavor aroma adjustments to finished beer. Sub-Zero Hop Keef is true to lot, delivering the same flavor aroma profile as the individual hop lot from which it is made, game-changing hop extract. Now, what might be more useful, actually, rather than me just reading it, is somebody actually knows about it. I saw this video last week from the Craft Beer channel, and I believe I can do this. They were up at Barron Brewing, brewing a beer, and they were using Hop Keef too. So let's have a look at your man from Barron explaining maybe a bit better than I can.
And a Kiwi hop, so that'd be nice to throw something different in the mix.
You seem to quite like Antipodean hops. You put them into quite, yeah.
Almost always use them. No, they're great. And we've got some Hop Keef, which is the a new style of hop.
Yeah, tell me what Keef is, because this was new to me when we were emailing.
I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's a incredibly condensed version of the essence, the oil part of the hop, and you need 275 milliliters. It's in liquid form. 275 milliliters equates to a whole bag of 5 kilos of Motueka. So
wow.
We'll be using it as a portion just in case that overpowers anything. But yeah, and Strata's going to be taking a pretty big role, particularly in the hot side.
Well, so maybe exactly, it was pretty much what I said, to be fair. It's just extracting all the oils and the best bits out of the hops in order to condense it. Yeah. Is it cheating slightly? That's what I want to know. Is it like if you get your beer to conditioning stage and you think, oh, maybe that's not quite got that flavour, you bung a bit of oil in it to enhance it, should you have not got there with the actual hops? Or is it a good thing that you just have less hops to transport and put into the beer? I don't know. Big Keith is the latest Two Flints one. Is that as in with Hop Keith? Obviously, they found out about it. Yeah, basically so there's a process that it goes through. What was I saying there now? Yeah, I guess they I don't think they boil it, they just like get all the hop oils, actual like what's that? Yeah, well, the lupulins is like the hop oils from it. And they get it down into a much smaller package. Yeah, I can't explain it that well, but it sounds interesting. So I need to get this beer into a glass. It has been in the fridge all day, to be fair, so it's not a true unboxing, but let's see what these hop oils, these lupulins are all about. I guess there's not that many beers about utilising it, but it's a thing that's been about for the last 6 months or so. Sounds an interesting way of doing the science, enhancing the beer. Yeah, so as I was saying, Nelson, Sauvignon, and Citra. So that's the can again with slightly funky can labels. Under Skies, 6.2% IPA. Looks proper juicy in the glass, doesn't it? Looks quite light and kind of orange juice. Looks like there's a bit of melon going on there. Ooh. Now, as always, just as I turn the live stream on, my nose gets a bit blocked up, so I can't smell a lot. But there's not a kind of tropical note going on with it. There's not a kind of fruitiness going on with it. But it's interesting. There's a kind of it's a kind of earthy note. It smells warm. It's not. It's been in the fridge all day, but it's kind of a warm, earthy note on the aroma. Oh, good man. Yeah. Well done, David Wilson. I've just seen it. Yes, I nearly forgot. I'm going to take them down because of the light. There's the can. Well done. Yes. Yeah, so there's an interesting warm aroma to that. I'll put the bleeding camera. Well done. A photo to do the photo, unlike a Yorkshire glove, which is 5 toes. There's a kind of, I mean, that head is nice and soft and pillowy and looks really good, but so I'm kind of interested to get into it. Bear with me a second, talk amongst yourselves whilst I do the old photo. It's mainly because if I don't, I will forget. Although, I haven't got the second can with this one. Sometimes if I've got a second can, I can just do the photo after the event and kind of cheat it a little bit. Right, there we go. Nothing to... yeah, that looks all right. Still not great. Still not happy with the lighting conditions, but there we go. Thanks for the reminder, Mr. Wilson. I will get my head around it eventually. And remember... Oh, what's happened there with the camera? I kicked the camera. You can see half the room and the absolute mess that the Disco Arms is currently in. Anyway, so as I'm saying... yeah. Lupulin is what gives hops flavour. I don't remember doing that in science. There we go. This is what we're talking about. They basically leave behind the vegetal matter from hops and get the goodness by cryogenic process, which is freezing, isn't it? And then it's super condensed. Nutshell. Yeah, basically in a nutshell. That is no clearer in my thick head because I'm not good at science. But yeah, I see what you're talking about. So they freeze it up, extract it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Vic. Oh no, that was after. So I didn't see that one again. Yeah, so this condensed version of hops that goes in, will it make a difference, do you think? Or maybe you won't notice it and it's all about just reducing the hop content and the transport of large amounts of hops. You can send 500 small bottles across the world. It's better than like a whole pallet of hops or whatever. I'm really not sure about this aroma, you know. It's really difficult. It smells like warm earthiness. It smells like warm pineapples. Can you smell warm? Is that a thing? Am I like completely out of touch there? Anyway, it's interesting. Let's get into it. It looks good, proper juicy, with a nice fluffy, pillowy head that's sticking around. So, cheers, everyone. Okay. Yeah. That's odd because I was expecting more kind of juicy, kind of tropical flavour, and it's kind of, and there's a little bit of orange juice there. That's odd. That's kind of weird. What there isn't really is too much grapefruit. It doesn't go towards grapefruit at all. Merest hints, maybe touch of pineapple. There's the melon, I suppose. Yeah, there's a little bit of kind of that pithy kind of melon kind of thing going on. What do they say? Vibrant notes of grape, citrus, and tropical fruit. I can't get my head around it, to be fair. I don't know if I'm getting blindsided by the whole like hopkeef thing. I mean, it is different. It has got a slight kind of piffy kind of edge to it, again, without being grapefruit or pine, which is kind of good. But it doesn't seem to quite ramp up that tropical fruit for me. It's got a slightly odd aroma. It's got some reasonable balance to it. Like I say, there's no kind of hoppy spikiness going on. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's sort of not. So I'm thinking. See, also losing me English language abilities as well as me science. I can imagine you've Henry, know a little bit about the science of oils and aromatics and stuff like that. So the writing poems, yeah, just like chuck a bunch of chemicals together. I remember that in science. I said to the science teacher, I just had all these like jars of stuff, silver nitrate and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I just want to do an experiment where I combine a bunch of stuff and see what happens. And she was like, no, I have to be a bit more controlled than that. You can't just bung a bunch of stuff together in case you find the explosive stuff. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want to find the fun stuff that goes nuts as long as it's from a safe distance. But yeah, so she wouldn't let me do that. I had to do it all controlled and stuff. And that's a memory coming back. I did actually do an experiment where she did actually let me play with some different chemicals, and it was like an experiment to find the effects of different chemicals on yeast. Funnily enough, but we were talking about bread rather than beer. Yeah, so I found a bunch of chemicals that did different things to yeast, but you couldn't use them for bread because they were mostly poisonous, or not poisonous, just like too chemically or whatever. So that was fun. But yeah, didn't actually find anything. And I can't remember what the chemicals were or what happened to the yeast. Certainly didn't make bread out of it. So yeah, fast forward 35 years, and I still don't know a lot about chemicals and what they do to yeast. Yeast is a different matter to hops. It's coming through a little bit more now, the tropicalness. It's okay. It's interesting. As a first, as an introduction to Floc, it's kind of what I'm saying about taking a chance on all these kind of randomly hoppy IPAs. Do I want to spend my money on something that's just all right? To be fair, because it's got that Nelson in it, it kind of rounds it out. I'm kind of used to drinking Nelson beers with Nelson in it. We do use them a fair lot. See, Nelson and Citra. I wonder if Citra, the hop itself has changed. The profile has changed. The flavours it brings out has changed a little bit. I'm used to really Citra hopped beers being really spiky, earthy, grapefruit. And I think certainly in maybe more traditional kind of real ale kind of beers, and maybe and certainly when on the onset of craft beer, that was what it was all about, that hoppiness. So Citra was a big thing. Maybe Citra's kind of now used to they've more balanced it a bit better. I don't know, or maybe my palate's just getting used to it. Like I say, I had a single hopped Citra hopped beer the other week. But then Mike is a bit of a magician with the malt and a master magician of getting me to drink beers that I wouldn't normally try. But maybe I'm biased because they're just there. They're, easiest for me to get used to, I suppose. I don't know. I think if I had a pint of that in a beer garden, in a well, maybe at like Floc's tap room, I presume they have a tap room. Somebody tell me. It's interesting. I do like me fruity IPAs because I think they reduce that kind of hop content and get back to the actual like fruit flavour. So I like, even if there isn't fruit additives in a beer, I prefer it when you get those hops together to get that kind of fruitier hop content rather than just kind of grapefruit and pine. I'm not bothered about grapefruit at all, and that kind of pininess as well. Just it doesn't work for me. Anyway, here's the Floc website. This is why I went with this beer, as I've just read it out. Yeah, as I said, Nelson Sauvin and Citra enhanced with Cohere Nelson Sub-Zero hop key for complex fruity profile with vibrant grape, citrus, and tropical fruit notes. Yeah, not really getting it. At $5.50, that's pint price, isn't it, for $4.40? So I'm like, yeah, I'd have a pint of that. I'd chance a pint of that. A pint of that would be about £6-something. I guess it is quite soft. I wonder if there's a bunch of oats in it, maybe. Doesn't say. I prefer it if they made a little mention. Let's have a quick look at the other beers on the Floc website. Basically, unless they've added a new one, yeah, that's all it is. So I know Floc have got some other beers around and about the place, and I guess they sell through them fairly quickly. Looks pretty good. Says build a box, as you see on the bottom right there, minimum 6 cans per box. So I had to go for the bare minimum. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe I should have got a second one of that rather than the Found You, the Two Flints version, but the Two Flints cola. But because they both got that hop keef in it, I wanted to try them both. So yeah, I actually went for the more expensive one. I gambled on a bit more money because I don't know. Just we'll see. We'll see what happens if and when I actually get around to reviewing the other one. If I do, indeed. For some reason, it won't let me show the things. Yeah, it is certainly nice and hazy there, Henry, which I don't mind at all. Doesn't bother me because it's meant to look like that. Mersey says, I follow the hops rather than breweries. Yeah, fair enough. I look for hop combinations or flavour combinations. The brewery doesn't matter. Then if the brewery is crap at that style. Yeah, I see what you're saying. With this one, because it was a small order, I've gone to the brewery primarily because of the disco beer, and I've looked at the other beers and I'm like, I could probably try those. They're probably okay. Again, because of the kind of New Zealand hop heavy coincidences, I guess. I've just seen the word coincidence, so I used it. You're also on a Citra beer. What beer? Let me know. Give me a shout. Anybody else? What you're drinking tonight? It's only a Tuesday. trying to get through the week. It's been one of those funny days. Yeah, Dave Wilson, which Citra beer is it? See you in a bit. Henry. There we go. Mersey Beers only did a Polly's order this month as they had black IPA. Tell me about black IPA. Red IPAs, I'm not so bad about, but black IPAs just now. I will try them. Trust me, I will try them. A single hopped Idaho 7 and single hop Ella beers. Fair play. Oh no, so Siren guessed the hop beer. Have you guessed that it's Citra, or you definitely know it's Citra, or is that finished now? I never did quite get around to that. I was thinking about getting that box and doing that little video, but because I've got far too many beers, I didn't need a hop-centric beer box to focus on. I was trying to get all my other beers out. But, is that finished now? Is that definitely... Seems a little bit of a... I don't know. Is it a bit of a cop-out, putting a Citra beer in a Gesta beer box that's fairly kind of... Is that not fairly easy to guess, I would think? I don't know. I just assume it is. But like I say, I said in that prawn cocktail one, I would never have guessed it's a Citra hopped beer because it was so balanced. And same with the hazy. So I haven't seen them, actually. I'll have to go check them out. Be interested to see what the other hops are. Off the ale until at least Thursday. Fair play. I did that last week. Yeah, that was my own fault rather than anything else. Anyway, I didn't realise I've been banging on for over an hour, and I mean, got to my third one. Yep. I don't want to smash that too quick if I can help it. What else do we know in beer this week? What else has happened? I've gone through all of my tabs now, so I've got nothing else to show you. Yeah, so can't even tell you about this weekend because I'm back at the brewery. My kind of social life is kind of like I'm at the brewery. That's it. I don't really do a lot else these days, which is not good content-wise because you've got nothing else to talk about. Now, here we go. Breaking news, or it's not breaking news because it's already been broken. So, yeah, the 3 hops in the Siren Craft Guess the Hops box is Citra, Nelson Sauvignon, and Sabro. That's really interesting. I wonder if I would have picked them up. Like I say, as I've been talking a lot about having quite a lot of beers recently with Nelson in being up Paravel and Citra. I think I would have picked up Citra. Would I have picked up Nelson? Because Nelson and Motueka are kind of two sides of the same coin almost. They all bring different things. So I wonder if I would have picked that up. Interesting. Sabro. I always think I know about Sabro, but I always just say coconut and wouldn't necessarily get hold of it, to be fair. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. Forgot to line that one up. Did anybody see? I talked about this last week, actually. Sorry, the week before. Blimey, last week went by in an absolute flash. And I didn't really get a lot done, including not really doing a live stream or any content. But yeah, this is the one I was going to talk about. Here we see. We were talking about the other week about the Burton Union system. One of them going over to Thornbridge and got installed. And the first batch, apparently, of Jaipur, 41 hectolitres of Jaipur, gone into the Burton Union system. And there it is, doing what it does. I read about it last week, and I still don't fully understand the process, as I've said before. But it seems to be doing its thing, frothing away, taking off the trub off the top and putting it down. I don't know if those troughs are new or whether that was part of the system and they've just got the barrels and the pipe system, or whether they've been, whether they're brand new. I know that the racking that they were using, it said, was new, or whether that was part of it originally. They look incredibly clean and nicely polished up, but then I suppose it would. That's an interesting question there. Does it work with your yeast, or is it special Burton Union yeast? That's a good one. If anybody knows that, that's... I imagine if they're brewing Jaipur, they'd be using their own yeast. I don't think the yeast would make a difference in the process because the yeast does what it does. It's interesting. I'm getting more into that. I'm getting more and more into that as it goes down, which is interesting because I'm getting down it fairly quickly. Some good lacing on the glass, which I guess you'd kind of expect from a hazy IPA like that at 6%, but gives a bit of quality, kind of like that. Can't see any particular patterns. I remember talking the other week about seeing a pattern in the glass. Don't know. Can you? Looks like a kiwi. It does. It looks like a kiwi. See that bit there? Is that like a kiwi? Kind of on its side. The good thing about that, I was just about to say, I can knock that back. And I can. That's fairly smashable. Because it's got that lightness, it's got that kind of oak kind of smoothness. They would say if they got oats. Yeah, barley wheat oats. There we go. Happy days. I do love oats in beer because of, especially in the hoppier beers, it just smooths everything out for me. Makes it really nice and drinkable. Here's a good announcement. Only beer news I know is that Verdant are doing light bulb on cask for their 10th anniversary. Fair play. Light bulb's the only Verdant beer I've had, so I seem to remember it being fairly light and drinkable. Interesting on cask. Too light, maybe. Won't hang around for long, which is good because you don't want to light a beer like that hanging around for too long in cask. But yes, yeah, they'll sell that through pretty easily, won't they? I'll tell you what I didn't do. Not that I need to, because you'll know what I'm drinking. Beer number 2, please. There we go, beer number 2, Floc. Under Skies. Why have I moved the can? Where have I put the can? Why have I put the can down there? There you go. And I should put the marble on up there because that's what we were drinking before. Even though you can't see it behind the disco label. And you can't see it with a terrible light. But anyway, for Tuesday night, doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the dry pour, if I ever get around to picking up any more cans of dry pour. It would be interesting to try. See if you can see any difference. It'd be interesting to do a side by side. No doubt somebody will. Big bubbles in head is a sign of a bad beer quality, but thick, foamy, dense head is a sign of a good beer. Yeah, I generally, I think so. If you're getting big, dense, like big bubbles in the head, the beer is probably clear, and you've got big bubbles coming up through the beer. So you probably know what it's going to taste like across Campo. Got a good, thick, dense head on it. Fair play. Well, you said it was all right. I've never, I don't think, tried it, if I remember rightly. Smash that one out. It was nice and cold out of the fridge, so that kind of helped, I guess. Got a big beer to finish. Probably won't get it through the stream. I do like to keep these down if possible. We're on an hour and a quarter. Me waffling away. Little palate cleanse. I've been wanting to try this beer for a long time, and I never quite got around to doing the video on it, really. I really like the artwork. That skeleton looks really pissed off. Oh, God, it looks even worse as you go round the can. Oh, is that hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil? That's what it's meant to be. It just looks several stages of depression. Really? Maybe he's upset because he wants to go to the disco and he's got nobody to go with. I need a tumbleweed banner, don't I? But yeah, so what this is, it's a beer that's been sitting in my stash for far too long. In fact, since 2022. It's almost knocking on for 2 years now. Or will be at the end of this year. It is. Here we go. It is beer number 3, please. And beer number 3 on tonight's show is Heist Brewco and Turning Point Brewco collaboration. Do you remember Fandango? 9.2% miso and caramel Imperial Stout. Really odd combination. Somebody will immediately remind me what miso is. I've only heard of it as miso soup. It's Japanese, isn't it? Some kind of tea-based configuration. Oh, and my StreamYard is being a bit of a dick. I can't see the comments. There we go. Whoa. Heister in an administration. I missed that one. I've had a couple of Heist beers, but never really kind of really got into them particularly. I've just I don't see them about too much on the socials. That's how I see all of my beers. But really good. Yeah, I quite like. You can't really see it very well on that can. It's kind of a bad design with the Heist logo in like silver, and even Turning Point normally have fairly brightness on their logos. Anyway, it's a 9.2% Imperial Stout with miso, and yeah, it's fermented something. Isn't it a tea? Miso, yeah, miso soup. Is it not like the Japanese version of the Korean fermented cabbage, which is, I should know because we did a beer with it. Anyway, let's get this out into glass whilst I rack my few remaining grey cells that I haven't killed off. That's quite lively because it's been sitting in a can for a while. It's always the problem with Imperial Stouts that have been sitting there for a while. They do hold up, but they can often be very, very lively. It's not secondary fermentation, I don't think. It's just a bit of liveliness. And you get a big, thick ice cream-like head coming out. But a nice, dark, engine oil coloured stout with kind of off-white, tannish coloured head. The trouble with doing Imperial Stouts at this time of night is the fact that you see yourself and the light on the thing. That's why I don't use a ring light, because you can always see the ring light in the glass. Before I even get into this beer, I've got this kind of impression in my mouth. You know when your taste buds kind of salivate a little bit? I can taste some spiciness. Is that just because I've said about it? I think it's related to miso horny. No idea. Here we go. Fermented soya bean. Wow. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really clear it up because I don't really know too much about soya bean, but that's why I'm wondering, why does it go with the caramel? What sort of thing does it bring? I'm really intrigued by this one. Again, it's an old beer, and you know, this is part of the reason I do the Bash the Stash, because some of these beers have been sitting in there for a while. I should have just done a straight up video with it. Fairly thick head that's hanging around, but there's some quite large bubbles on that. Let's get a little sniff if I can. Yeah, I can't smell anything at all because of my blocked up nose. I can't smell anything fermented. There's a slight dark malt kind of thing. Bear with me a second. Thank you very much indeed. That was a short break, not sponsored by Henry 420 and his tune. Groove City. Just whilst I cleared up the old nose, I was about to explode and give it a bit of a sneeze. So I had to cover that one. Thanks for helping me cover that, Henry. Cheers. Right, so the internet, I was going to do that in a second, but thank you for doing that for me, David Wilson. And it says, tastes like rich soy sauce. Now, I like a nice, rich, dark soy sauce, mostly in cooking. So there's kind of, I guess, there's going to be a little bit of saltiness against the kind of sweetness of caramel. I guess what that's about. It's very interesting. It's certainly unusual adjunct to be putting in the beer. Let's get into it. Oh, that's much clearer now. I've blown the old snozzer. Yeah, there is a certain dark kind of sauce. No, I wouldn't say soy sauce particularly, but something along those lines. Can't smell any caramel. Smell the dark malts though. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. Let's get in. Cheers. This is High Brew and Turning Point. Miso and Caramel Imperial Stout, 9.2%. Cheers for a Tuesday. Oh, wow. Oh, there's some interesting. They had miso and a Northern Monk beer. Yeah, I've seen it in one or two things. I see a reminder. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Wilson, doing myself a credit, the great service of reminding me to do the photo before I forget. It's best I get them out. Also, it looks better in the can, if in the photo rather, if you get the whole kind of the whole pint in. It's going to be very difficult in the dark, and this is not a very photogenic can. The light is bouncing off the silver. Let's hope we've got it. It would also help if I put it the right way round. I think we'll put it that way because that's where we put on the thumbnail. I think we've got that. Yeah, that'll do. There you go. It does look like he's sniggering a little bit, doesn't it, with that one, rather than kind of not saying anything. Just looks like he's kind of laughing at me. Let me put the phone on charge so it doesn't completely die. Oh, there he is. Just got that little kind of... I've kicked the bloody camera again, haven't I? Wouldn't be a Rasco and Disco stream without some kind of technological camera failure, or indeed disco failure. Yeah, it's really great artwork. I mean, anything with any kind of skeleton is probably going to go pretty well. I mean, it is difficult on that can because he's got a lot of white writing against a kind of white background of the skeleton, but it is picked out in neon pink. Got some good information on that. Hold on, I have completely misread that. Is that me, or does that say 9.5%? I don't know where I got 9.2 from. Bear with me a second. It's just for completeness. I do like to get things right, even when I'm wrong, and spot it. There we go. 9.5%. Miso and Caramel Stout. But yeah, I do like the artwork. Looks pretty good. I need to get me one of these can spinner things so I can just like sit there revolving it. I do think that's the best view, the best version of the skeleton. Yeah, sorry to hear if that's the case, that Heist are in administration. So I don't know too much about Heist. I've seen a couple of their beers about. But yeah, and I know they've done a couple of collabs with Turning Point over the years. But yeah, the head retention stays there. A nice and deep tan colour. It does taste kind of thick and oily. There is a sort of, what do you get from soy sauce? It's like, yeah, there's that savouriness. It's that umami kind of taste. A bit like, it's got a saltiness around the back end. I mean, the sweetness, I feel the sweetness comes more from the malt, the dark malt, chocolate malt, I imagine, than specifically the caramel. But now I'm thinking Mars bar. I'm getting a kind of like dark chocolate Mars bar with a kind of saltiness. Maybe a salted caramel Mars bar. But yeah, there is that kind of soy sauce thing nagging at the background. And a slight fermented note. Again, I think this is psychosomatic because I've been talking about it like that, but it's genuinely what I get. It's really nice. It's absolutely like, it's really palatable. It's really dark. It's delicious. Say that savoury flavour, that umami note, slight saltiness coming through at the end with a kind of, I mean, there's a real engine oil quality to this. It really is kind of engine oil. I don't go around drinking engine oil. Obviously, don't try that at home, kids, and all that blah, blah, blah. Drink responsibly. But yeah, it's got that really dark voluptuousness to it. Doesn't feel like it suffered from sitting in my stash for a year and a half past the nominal best before date. Or on the side of the can here, I saw it earlier. 1st of the 12th, 2022. God, who remembers 2022 these days? It was so far back in the day, it's not going anything, and it might kill off everything else. So yeah, 2022, nominal best before date, but a 9.5% Imperial Stout is probably going to hold up fairly well. Don't know when it was brewed in that case. 2022 was the best before date. It might have been a 2020 beer. 2021 at least. But I mean, this is a thing we were talking about, like that vidIQ video the other day. It's like, oh, be relevant, do the thing that, go to the supermarket beers because everyone's talking about that. I drink beers like this because nobody else does. I like talking about these lesser known beers. I wouldn't say lesser known breweries. I think Turning Point is reasonably well known, but probably kind of understated and kind of a little bit under most people's radar. I love what Turning Point do as well. I bang on them about enough, and they got the disco beers and blah, blah, blah. But this feels like an example, and I think probably they're kind of better at stouts. They do have a good, they have a good barrel aging program. I know, again, I'm slightly biased because I made them my brewery of the year in, is that 2022? Yeah, it was 2022. Turning Point my brewery of the year because I just saw so much stuff coming out from them. But it was about quality more than quantity. Just so many beers I wanted to try. Admittedly, a lot of adjunct stuff. But they do bang out a fair amount of IPAs and pale ales with different hop quantities and hop rotation. This is a beer I want to keep going back to. I want to keep supping. It's really, really nice. Yeah, it would go so well with some savoury, really savoury food. Here we go. I once one I had was OF 046, a black sesame and miso black IPA. See, that's interesting because I always say black IPAs don't interest me because they're generally hoppy, and I don't get that juxtaposition between the hoppiness and the maltiness, like dark malts and hop, which ends up being grapefruit for me. So I've not yet found a balanced black IPA. So I guess I wouldn't want this to be hoppy. It would just not work. Throw out the balance. It's got that balance between salt and sweet, between dark malt and soft, not quite pillowy, but there is a softness, there is a smoothness to it, a voluptuousness to the body. It's a really nice beer. Really, really nice beer. I think I got this, if I remember rightly, direct from Turning Point. I should have a look. Let's have a quick look as I talk about it, because it'll be on my Instagram somewhere. Let's go all the way back. Yeah, so I got it. I wish I'd got a second one. Is that one, if I'd thought about it at the time, 2 years ago, I would have done the whole, this is what it tastes like now. And it would be so good to have revisited it now and then look back against what I said in 2022 or whenever it was. I imagine I got it early 2022. Like I say, it would have come out back end of 21 with a year's date on it, I would think. God, I don't know what beers I was drinking in 2022. That's how long ago it was now. Mind you, this year's racing away. It's blinking June next week, or the end of next week anyway. I know. So I can't see any comments coming through right now because I'm just scrolling back through my Instagram. There's a lot of beers on the Instagram, man. How about that? What year was that? Wow. Well, here we go. Hi. Gave that one a high mark. Wish I'd got a few cans. On your drinking sound, my kind. Yeah, I think so. If you like your darker kind of beers, and it's interesting because it's something different. It's something unusual. There's a lot to go back for. I often talk about these kind of beers that go, I'm just scrolling through my Instagram to see when I actually pick this up. Also, because it provides just see any beers that I've been drinking. Like, here's a Turning Point. Creative Juices. Oh, that kind of just hit. It's a slight fermentation note. Not quite vinegar, but here we go. There we go. Oh, it's part of the custard beers. Right, so 2022. Right, so that beer there, that dark matter custard, was the beer that I drank. Was it? Yes, it was. That was the dark matter custard that I drank on the Turning Point stream from 2 weeks ago. So I got it in May 2022, left it for a year, didn't do anything with it last year, and then didn't do the 23 version last year. So that's the beer I drank in that custard stream, live stream from 2 weeks ago. So that was a 2-year-old beer, that dark matter custard, and that alongside it on the right hand side is this one. Do you remember Fandango? And I haven't even done but there's 9.5, and I haven't even done a Clem Fandango reference. I'll let you do that jump all on your own in the comments. Do you remember Clem Fandango? I was watching a video with Clem Fandango just the other day because these things pop up, and I didn't even watch that series. Let's have a quick look whilst we're here. It's lip smacking. That savouriness, that slight saltiness, absolutely lip smacking. Do you remember Fandango with Heist? Let me have a quick look at Heist, see what we can find. Let's go down this. Well, we follow Heist on the back of this beer and some others. I missed a giveaway. As you know, I like a good beer giveaway. Nothing too recent about the whole about administration as such. As far as I can see, they're still kind of banging out content. Not regularly, but there we go. Anyway, yeah, so just me kind of divulging and having a little conversation with myself, I guess. Show. I'm gonna now. I've been going an hour and a half. I normally try to get these shows to an hour and consistently fail. But yeah, so this beer, Heist Brew Co. and Turning Point. Do you remember Fandango? 9.5% miso and caramel Imperial Stout from Turning Point and Heist. Great beer to end on. I'm gonna log off now and thank everybody. Ooh. It's just really, really nice. I can't emphasize that enough. Some great flavors. I've got a lot to talk about when I post about this tomorrow. Thank you, David Wilson. Oh, so Luke, for reminding me to take the photographs so I can get them. I'm actually at the brewery tomorrow, so I don't know when I'll get a chance to post them, but I'll try and do it tomorrow afternoon. And also the Floc unboxing post, I put it over on Instagram. Completely forgot to post on Instagram about this live stream. So if I don't know if anybody ever comes over from Instagram. Oh, a little bit of chocolate. Is that Mars bar coming through as well? It's like a salted caramel Mars bar. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, thanks to everybody who's commented. Thanks to Henry420 for sharing out the live stream the other day that got me 40-odd subs overnight. Thank you for the music, Henry, as well. I'm going to afterwards put a link to Henry420's channel and his music and the royalty-free music that he put up today that I've used. And if anybody else uses it as well, give Henry a big shout out, as I will in the comments below. If you're watching this after the event, by the way, and you are still watching at this end of the video, thank you very much indeed. Please do me a massive favor, do the whole commenting for real after the event, do the like, the subscribe, click all them buttons. And thank you everybody for watching. We'll do this again, maybe one more this week, I'm not sure, or if not, next week. Thank you to all you beautiful beer people out there. Happy damn Tuesday, happy damn rest of the week. And above all, cheers. And as I always say, cheers and enjoy the beers, whatever they contain. Here's the outro. Cheers all.